And it was sad in a way because he never got that love while he was alive.
Before we went on camera, I said to you, do you want to talk about it?
Right.
And you said you feel it needs to be addressed.
Why is only Ty getting this recognition? A lot of people have used it as an opportunity to try and diminish what we've accomplished over the last 5 years.
Everybody I spoke to that was in the venue
Yeah.
didn't have an issue with it.
Based on the fact that I'd endorsed somebody that a lot of people didn't feel morally should have been there. The main takeaway from these Pass the Torch for Ty events is for Ty and his legacy. If I don't do it, who's going to do it? Yeah, and regardless what anybody has to say, there's no gatekeeping over here.
Welcome back to the 521 DocuChat. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. This conversation that we're going to be having today is not about the particular person that I'm talking to, but it's more about an event that was started by somebody respectable within the UK hip-hop scene who's done a lot for the culture, like going all the way back to the early 90s. And he started an event, and that event still carries on, but it's being run and organized by other people. And I'm now here with one of the people that are organizing the event, and we're going to be talking about the event, which is happening once a year and is coming up soon. I believe it's August the 17th, but he'll confirm that. Anyway, without further ado, let me introduce you to Skandouz from the FRSHRZ crew. Skandouz, how you doing, bro?
How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man. Good to finally be on this platform. And yeah, I appreciate you giving me some time to really talk about this event and the work that we've been doing over the last 5 years. You know, this is a very special one that's coming up. It's the 5th anniversary, you know, and we're going hard, man. We're doing in the middle of a radio tour at the moment, doing some heavy promotion. So yeah, so really grateful for the platform and the opportunity to talk about it.
Before we even go anywhere with that,
Yeah.
right, let me just give a couple of shout outs.
Okay.
Yeah, first of all, this London, Los Angeles collective, and this is my boy all the way in Los Angeles, Prince Ray Pope, who comes all the way to London on a regular basis. He's here. You've probably seen him at events. Yeah, so you know who that is. So yeah, just want to big up Prince Ray Pope and Los Angeles and London collective. Also, I've been waiting to wear this one, Thick as Thieves. I think I have to kind of get up. Is that? Yeah. So Thick as Thieves. But I'll wear that and I'll take photos of it properly. But anyway, let's get back to what we came here for.
Oh, let me just squeeze one in then.
Yeah, go ahead.
Big up Nicholas, the original designer of the Thai Worker Heart t-shirts. Obviously, this is quite a impactful design that Thai was wearing prior to him passing away. And he was kind enough to send me some of these, which I've been wearing throughout the promotional tour. So, yeah.
Why did you decide to carry on rather than just leaving it to kind of, you know, be forgotten?
It's a number of things. So basically, I'm Skandouz. I'm a hip hop artist, part of the group called the FRSHRZ. I'm also one half of the Connoisseurs of Hip Hop. That's a kind of like a hip hop media company that started on HFM as a radio show, where we had the opportunity to interview a number of legends throughout UK hip hop. It's a passion of mine, just UK hip hop culture, as well as being an artist, it's actually being a part of the culture and celebrating the culture. How my relationship began with Ty, again, Ty was someone who I look up to as a hero. He was a mentor of mine. And literally he started an event called Pass the Torch for Ty. Pass the Torch at the Jazz Cafe. And to me, this was, Blade, you might remember some of the UK hip-hop jams we used to go to back in the day. Like, I guess one example would be Kung Fu, you know, which was at the Underworld in Camden. And it was one of those rare events where it would bring all aspects of UK hip-hop community together. And when Kung Fu kind of finished, we kind of lost that a little bit. You know, and the first Pass the Torch for event at Jazz Cafe was kind of the first time we had everybody in the building, man. Sold out the Jazz Cafe. It was the lineup was crazy. Anyone you can think of was on that lineup that night. And I was just in the crowd, I've got a background as an events manager, stage manager. I've been doing events for over 20 years now. So I was watching the event, and it was getting to the point where Ty was running around. He put the event on, and there was like about 5 acts to go, and the time was running out. It was getting to curfew, and it was getting a bit crazy. Like, he was just literally rushing artists on, couple songs on, and then off. So after the show, I went up to him and I said, "Look, Ty, I've got a background in events. Let me help you. Let me join." So I offered to help him on the remainder of the shows, the Pass the Torch events. And then when he passed away in the year 2020, during COVID, I was literally the only person that was aware that there was unused Jazz Cafe events in his agreement. And it literally I was driving past the venue with my missus one night, and I was like, you know what? We haven't had a chance to publicly grieve this man. Like, when he passed away, we saw from like the outpouring of love from artists all over the world, like Chuck D, Questlove, DJ Jazzy Jeff. Everybody was sending tributes to Ty. And it was sad in a way because he never got that love while he was alive, but everybody was outpouring afterwards. So we never had a chance to publicly come together. So on his birthday the following year in 2021, I decided to put on the first ever Pass the Torch for Ty event at the Jazz Cafe. So I got together with his original touring bands, and an array of artists that were associated with Ty. We did like covers of his songs as well as some original material. And it was an opportunity for people to come on stage and give out personal tributes. But it was beautiful in a sense that it gave everybody a chance to come together, like publicly, and really like grieve this man, you know. We did it for charity. So we raised money for the Brixton Soup Kitchen, which was a charity that Ty endorsed. And yeah, that night we raised over £2,000. And as somebody that's been in the culture for over 20 years, you know, it was kind of like the first time I'd ever seen anything like that before. You know, there was no precedent of how do you grieve a UK hip hop legend? You know, how do we celebrate somebody's legacy? There was, you know, that was, in a way, it kind of felt like the blueprint, you know, and based on the success of that initial event, we've just continued to march on. Like every single year on his birthday, we come together, we do an event, switch up the lineup a little bit, and we raise some money for Pass the Torch for Ty. Now, in 2023, we decided to move away from the Jazz Cafe because Ty is kind of seen like a legend in Brixton. Like, the man's got more murals in Brixton than David Bowie. You know, I decided to move the events to various venues throughout Brixton and just really keep it Brixton centric and, you know, bring the artists out, local artists, international artists. And here we are at 2025. We're about to do the 5th year, you know. So for an event that I literally at the time thought was one and done, you know, based on the feedback and people telling me to keep it going, you know, we've kept it moving now. It's 5 years in now. And yeah, that's where we're at. It's going to be a special event because I've partnered up with Fusion, another legend from the UK hip hop scene who's made some special films based on the artwork from Ty's albums, which is going to get premiered at this event as well. So that's the key ingredient behind us doing this event at the Brixton Blues Kitchen, which is a sister venue to the Jazz Cafe. So it's got quite a massive capacity. And yeah, we're just looking to pack it out, man, and celebrate the legend.
Do you remember the initial feeling of like something needs to carry on?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people will look at this as, you know, anybody that wants to criticize it will look at it like, why is only Ty getting this recognition? There's so many legends in the UK hip hop history that are alive and have passed, and they don't get this attention where there's like literally 2 tribute events for Ty per year at the moment. The guys, Shorty Blitz and Just Vibes, they do an event called Celebrate Ty around the anniversary of his passing. I do the Pass the Torch for Ty events around his birthday. You know, so consistently for the last 5 years, literally, we've had 2 tribute events a year. And yeah, that doesn't really happen for anybody else. I can't even think of an example of an American artist, you know, that's passed away and gets that sort of treatment every single year. You know, so it feels like we're breaking ground in a way. But my view on that is we're kind of setting precedent for how I feel that we should just celebrate artists in general.
See, if we were to do that with every artist,
Yeah.
then every day would be a party of some sort,
Yeah.
right? But I feel like there has to be something special about a person
Yeah.
for that to happen.
Right.
So in your eyes, and this is in your eyes, give us your perspective of why Ty was that person that was special, that this needed to happen.
It's interesting.
It could have been anybody. It could have been Derek B.
It could have been anybody. But I think there's just a connection with the people, man.
The people of Brixton or
people
everybody?
are just in the hip hop community.
So then why move it to Brixton instead of moving it to the O2 Forum or something?
Because Brixton is seen as Ty's home. Like the original shows were at the Jazz Cafe in Camden, you know, but it just felt more fitting to do it in Brixton. You know, it's like I represent Kentish Town. That's seen as
What's
my
the capacity of the venue in Brixton?
about 350. So it's quite
Jazz Cafe was 5.
yeah.
So 350, yeah, it's not.
Yeah, it's quite snug. And yeah, let me just explain that, man. It's, a part of the thing is due to the demand. People want to come out. Like Ty was associated with like good vibes, having a good time, you know, showing love, you know. So and that's what people gravitate to. You know, that's why every year there's people ask me, you know, why have you not booked this person? We enjoyed ourselves. Can't wait till next year, and it keeps going. So that's why we're here at 5 years now.
Basically, I have to say on camera, he's one of the best live performers I've seen. It's nice that you guys have taken it upon yourselves to carry this on. And for anybody who doesn't even understand what Pass the Torch is,
Right.
you know, do you want to explain to them about the whole event?
Yeah, the event, literally the concept is in the name. You know, Ty saw it was necessary to use his platform. Like he's got a global platform, but he saw that there was a lot of amazing artists in the UK that people generally ignored, you know, that had been prolifically dope at live shows, the albums are banging, but they weren't getting the attention. So he would use his platform. So I remember one night he did a show at the Jazz Cafe to launch one of his albums, and he brought Akala and Dirty Goods on stage, and he said, look, this is the future of UK hip hop, and he publicly endorsed them. And there's not a lot of examples that we can look to for at our legends, you know, be them MCs or DJs or producers, where they publicly endorse the next generation of our culture. Because you're supposed to play it forward. That's just the way it goes.
100.
You know, and that example there, literally, that was the foundation of what Pass the Torch was. So I would be at the events with him and see him bring artists like Task Force on stage, but then bring people like Logic or Tommy Evans or Shawnee T. It was like such an array of artists. Some we know, some we don't know, that were brilliant as well. Like, I don't know, Tremendous, like Teach, you know, all of these artists that I've in turn, whilst keeping the event going, I've reached out to those same artists and other artists that I know Ty endorsed as well and brought them back to these shows to celebrate them as well.
Let's talk timelines.
Okay.
So when did Pass the Torch begin?
Pass the Torch began officially in January 2019.
So it was only really one event before he passed away.
No. It was about 5 events. So it was...
Oh, he done it on a monthly? Or
every couple of months? Every couple of months. So it was...
So why didn't you carry that on and do it every couple of months?
To me, it felt like more fitting to just do like a one-off. It makes it more special for me to do it just a one-off tribute on his birthday every year, annually. You know, I mean, ultimately, I would love to, the same way I felt like he passed the baton to me, I would love to pass the baton onto the next generation and be like, okay, cool, here's Pass the Torch. This is what it's about. Take it into the future.
I'm going to ask you a bit of a profound question now.
Okay.
So imagine Ty is watching.
Right.
What have you got to say?
I'll say, Ty, I like to think that we've carried on tradition. We've done this show to the best of our ability in the framework you've provided. You know, carried on your energy, carried on your legacy. And Yeah, that's all I ever wanted to do.
You obviously knew Ty,
Yeah.
and you knew him on a personal level where you know the kind of person he was. Do you feel like any of his energy has translated over to you to the point where you could potentially be him in doing what you're doing with Pass the Torch?
I mean, I can never be him as an artist, but
Not as an
in
artist,
terms
in the event.
of the event, you know, I've based on being at the event as like a fan in the audience, but then working behind the scenes at the event and seeing how he puts the event together and assisting him and understanding the vision behind the event, it felt like after he passed, I was in the best position to carry it forward.
That's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah.
So do you feel like there couldn't have been anybody else?
I understand that question, man. And it was one of those things. It was like, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? You know, it, like, respectfully, you know, I wouldn't say I was the most, out of all the people Ty knew, I wouldn't say I was the most experienced with events. I wouldn't say I was the most high profile individual. There's a lot of people that Ty knew that are way more high profile than me, but they just was not in position to do this event.
Right. And the reason why I wanted to ask that question is basically because I know there's people going to be like, why you?
Yeah.
You know, so I want to clarify that. Why you?
Yeah, I was happy enough to take on the baton. You know, like with anything in life, you know, sometimes you just know. If you're the one that's got the responsibility of taking it forward, either you can step up or you step aside. And I just felt I was in a position to step up, and I feel like over the last 5 years we've done a good job.
Like I said, you would have been speaking to him on numerous occasions while you're building up to this moment. You know, what was his ultimate end goal? And is that the same goal you're trying to achieve?
I think the ultimate end goal was, again, in the title, man, was to pass the torch. You know, as artists, we know we're just dust in the wind, man. We're not going to be here forever.
Like, you could pass the torch to anybody.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
did he
yeah.
have like a bigger vision of like creating tomorrow's heroes? And
Yeah, so he was a curator, man. He also had his radio show on Soho Radio, and on that show he would endorse like up and coming UK hip hop artists, and you know, a lot of the people that we know are doing amazing things today, and he was championing them. Like, he would put his name on it and be like, look, man, I'm gonna stand on why I support Tremendous, you know, why, like, I support these young artists coming up right now, Maslow, Apex Zero, you know. And literally, I've seen what he's done there, and I've looked at it, and I've like, you know what, that kind of ties into what we was doing with Connoisseurs of Hip Hop anyway, you know, and that's why it's not a stretch for me to do this event, because it kind of aligns with what I was doing anyway.
your tour that you got going on all over the UK, I'm guessing it's all over the UK, right?
What do you mean?
You know, you said you're doing a radio tour.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Right.
So explain a little bit about that.
So the radio tour, again, was inspired by Ty. So with the first ever Pass the Torch for Ty, Ty went on to BBC London, and it was one of those things, he could have just went on there by himself and be like, yeah, I'm tired, it's my event, boom, you know. But he infamously took Asata Sharif, and he took Archer, because he knew Archer had an album coming out. So he used his platform and he shared it with the other artists, and he brought them on BBC with him, you know. And so I kind of use that as the blueprint. So for every year we do a fundraiser, I always do a radio tour, like 6-7 dates through all the different radio stations, and I bring the artist on the lineup with me. So whoever's available, we come and we do the radio shows. So it's not only me advertising the event, it's also giving some shine to the artists that are performing as well. So say, for example, the DJ will play, okay, we're doing a Thai tribute night show, so we'll play some Thai. But then also, oh, you've brought Logic with you. Okay, we're going to play some Logic as well. You know, so it's just an opportunity to really shine the light on other artists.
You know, as you're saying that, I'm thinking, wouldn't it be amazing if that whole night was all Thai instrumentals with everyone rapping their rendition of, you know, that would be nuts.
Yeah, and that's what we did with year one. We literally did Thai covers with the actual original band that he toured with.
Okay.
So they played the original songs exactly how Ty had set it up to be. And then we had to learn the songs and perform the songs with his original backing vocalists and everything. And it was a beautiful moment, man. Prior to that, I had not seen anything like that. And, you know, it's special that we really went in and celebrated an artist like that.
Now I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
And say, earlier I said, Ty is one of the greatest performers I've seen in the UK.
Right.
All these artists that you've seen come up on that stage, is there anyone that matches him?
I don't think anyone could really match him. but some have elements of his energy which they bring to the stage, and I've seen that in Tremendous. I've seen that in Logic.
Breeze.
Breeze, yeah, Breeze. Awate, Amy True. I've seen it in Asata Sharif. I've seen it in K9. We've had Black Twang on there. We've had Skinny Man on there. We've had so many, like the New Guards. So many artists that have that element. Archer, Dre Styles, Freshers. You know, so many artists that have elements of Thai in their DNA.
Off camera, we spoke about a situation, and I don't really want to kind of go too much into negatives and politics and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But a couple of years ago, there was a certain scenario that was all over the internet.
Okay.
Yeah. And before we went on camera, I said to you, do you want to talk about it?
Right.
And you said you feel it needs to be addressed.
I think, yeah, for those that wanna hear an explanation, you know, there was during lockdown there was some controversy that came out about one of our UK hip hop legends, you know, Rodney P, and based on those allegations, a lot of people turned their back, cancelled him, and he was kind of like finished in a sense, like in terms of public opinion. You know, people didn't want to book him for shows or whatever like that. So I used the platform in 2023 to book him because personally I felt it was the right thing to do. The year prior I had Skinny Man headline a show. Rodney P was in a group with Ty. You know, you go to Ty's socials, Rodney P's all over it. That's his friend, you know. And a lot of the artists that I book for Pass the Torch for Ty have their own personal history with Ty, their own personal story, you know, that they want to tell. They just need the platform to do it. And so I provided the platform. Off the back of that, I got a lot of, I guess, negativity based on the fact that I'd endorsed somebody that a lot of people didn't feel morally should have been there, you know. So I had to shoulder a lot of that heat. I don't regret booking him for the show, you know. But at the same time, I think that a lot of people made it about their personal issue with the artist and not necessarily about what it meant for the legacy, you know. And that's why I stood on that decision. And yeah, a lot of people have used it as an opportunity to try and diminish what we've accomplished over the last 5 years and kind of reduce it, everything we've done, all the money we've raised, all the events that we've put on. They want to reduce it to that one incident, what they're calling an incident, you know, which I don't genuinely think is fair. I don't think it's right.
I have to agree with you. I don't think it's fair. Like, I don't know the whole details of everything that went on. I wasn't there. Yeah. But I saw a lot of talk on social media, and I was just like, what the hell? It's like they're all forgetting the purpose of what this night is supposed to be. Yeah. And instead of bigging Rodney up for turning up and doing it, maybe even expecting some slack or expecting some kind of backlash, or do you get what I'm saying? But he was brave enough to get out there and do that. And like you said, to celebrate his friend.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And he was entitled to do that. And he didn't come there with no negativity from what I heard. When I was speaking to the people that were at the event, because I was like, what went on? Yeah. Did something happen that I'm not aware of? Because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody, let's just clarify, everybody I spoke to that was in the venue didn't have an issue with it.
Yeah. And that's very true. Literally, when he went on stage, literally one person walked out.
Right. So
the venue was packed.
What I'm saying is, what I saw was the issue was online. It wasn't at the venue.
It wasn't in the venue.
So anybody who was at the venue did not have an issue with that.
Right. And another thing, Ty's mum, his sister, his family are at every one of these fundraisers.
Thank you for raising that.
And the charity is at every one of these events. And I made sure I was in the audience when he was on stage, and I was watching his mum and I was watching his sister, and they enjoyed the show.
Listen, I saw footage.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't, when Rodney was on that stage, I didn't see them screwing their faces or anything. They were smiling, they were happy. I think one of them even had tears in their eye.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I saw.
Because what people take away, and I've had so many people come to these events that don't know who Ty is, you know, never heard of him, you know, and they come to this event and they said, we felt the love, you know, and I said, that's the objective. At the end of the day, we come there to show love, show appreciation, and push positivity. You know, I always had a motto in life: we lead with love.
And again, let me just reiterate what I was saying. Yeah, like Rodney didn't have to turn up to do that. He could have easily turned that away. It wasn't a money thing, from what I understand, anyway. So it's got nothing to do with money. It's got nothing to do with that. It was a celebration of his friend. So you know, like that's massive. You know what I mean? He turned up knowing potentially there was going to be backlash.
Yeah.
So, you know, if anything, that deserves more plaudits than anything, really. You know, that's just my view.
My view is, you know, I don't think Ty's legacy should be about what anybody else in particular are dealing with personally, or if anyone's got personal issues with specific people in our community. In life, we're all going to have personal issues with people, you know, but I think the main takeaway from these Pass the Torch for Ty events is for Ty and his legacy. And that's what we're celebrating every single year.
Did what happened there affect the following year?
I think last year the turnout wasn't as big, but it wasn't necessarily down to that. It was down to logistics with the venue. You know, if I'm going to be completely honest.
But was that Jazz Cafe?
No. That was at Pop Brixton.
Right.
Pop Brixton decided that they were going to cancel all their events one summer. And then they gave us a shot, but it was like in the afternoon, and it was around the back of the venue that people couldn't find, and it was a bit rough, man. But we persevered. We put on an event. It's been documented, and the show went brilliantly. We took Ty's family round to the mural after the show with Paul H, the legendary photographer, and he took some beautiful photos of us all together in front of the mural. So in terms of what we needed to do, we met the objective, man. And it was a success.
Are you in regular contact with the family now?
I am, as much as I can be.
Okay.
You know, because ultimately I'm in communication. Whenever got one of these events coming up, then, or if I see them at another tribute event, it's always I hug his mum, say hello to his sister and other family members that are there. You know, we've built up a kind of like a relationship over the last 5 years. You know, and where they trust me to do what I need to do in terms of shining the light and celebrating Ty. Because like I said before,
discovering some new talent.
And discovering some new talent as well along the way.
Yeah, I think as elders, that's our duty now.
Yeah.
You know, we've had our time, and yeah, we need things like this to happen for the new generations to come through.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, man, there's not many examples of events like this in our hip-hop community where we just come out and we just celebrate artists. You know, I can't even think of another example.
Do you know what I feel? And I've said this a few times, probably to a reflection in the mirror to myself, right? But I feel like sometimes I just want to put the camera on and start celebrating the people that are living.
Yeah.
You know, because they need to know.
Yeah.
I'd like to believe that when everyone gets to where they're supposed to get to, they can see us, they can hear us now talking. You know, I hope Ty's listening and watching.
Yeah.
Because you know what? I know artists,
Yeah.
for example, that aren't in good places.
Right.
And I see them putting messages up on socials about, I'm done with this world, you know.
Yeah.
And you mentioning them could potentially change their outlook and save their life.
Yeah, yeah.
So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, of
course. So I think we need to do this to people that are living as well.
Yeah, yeah. I absolutely agree with that, man. You know, it's too easy to hide behind the screen name and, you know, just say, I've had a bad day today. I'm just going to say some negative things and insult some artists, you know. Whereas, you know, an artist, you know, even if it's a local artist, no matter what size it is, they might have put out a brilliant verse or a brilliant track, and it could put the ego aside and just be like, you know what, well done, that was brilliant, you know, or yeah, that was great, but if you did this and this and this, it'd be even better, you know, and just like walk with some positivity. It's not hard, man. You know, a recent example is Roots Maneuver, who's been dealing with some health issues, put out some messages online, and I was like, look, Roots Maneuver, I just bought your vinyl, I love this album. You know, it's incredible. It's inspired me as an artist, you know, and I just put it out there and he retweeted it and he said, thank you. And I was like, wow, I didn't expect that. But, you know, he just to get some positivity from some artists out the blue, you know, it's just a nice thing.
Yeah, and while he's silent all these years, you don't know what he's going through.
Yeah.
And that, like I said, could potentially save his life.
There you go.
You never know.
There's so many unsung heroes. What I've learned over the years, over 11 years, I've been interviewing hip hop artists, Blade. I mean, yourself included, you know, and so many of these artists in this country have done incredible things that is not necessarily public. And we've not had a chance to really shine the light on them or, you know, give them their props or their flowers. So any opportunity I get, you know, I'll definitely highlight as much as I can.
Well, you know, I have to shake your hand on that because that's all I've ever seen of you. You're always, you know, like you said, paid forward.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I've always seen. You're at all the events. I wish I could be at the events that you're always at, but time and work and whatever.
Right.
But you're constantly there. And you're one of the most selfless people that I know. So when you've taken this thing on, I know this ain't about you.
Right.
Like if you could do it and be completely like, I don't know, hidden behind a mask or something so no one knows it's you, you would do that.
And to be honest with you, as artists, we all got egos. The way my ego is set up is the fact that you don't see me. And someone says, wow, who ran this event? You know, I don't need to be front and center with these Pass the Torch for Ties events. To this day, there's a lot of people that don't even know that I run the events, you know, because it's never been about that. It's literally been about, okay, cool, I'm going to sit in the back and you enjoy it, you know, and because that's the most important thing at the end of the day. I get fulfillment out of knowing that we've left something behind and there's a young person out there that's turned up to one of those events and learned a bit about UK hip-hop history, learned about some artists. Like this one that's coming up, we've got Scheme performing, we've got Carl Hines, someone I've personally not seen live for over 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, someone's going to come to that show and see Carl Hines and be like, wow, you know, where have you been? You know, so it's just an opportunity for me personally to give a platform to some legends, you know, as well as celebrate Ty as well.
Do you want to give us some more names of some of the people? Yeah. I know you mentioned Tremendous, you mentioned Task Force, you mentioned Rodney.
Yeah, so this year in particular, we've got Carl Hines performing, we've got Scheme performing, Tremendous, Apex Zero, Watusi 87 and DJ Maintain, Archer, and the jewel in the crown for me this year is Eska. Now, if anybody's familiar with Ty's legacy, they'll know that Eska is a legendary vocal artist in the UK. She's performed on a lot of his songs and albums, but up until this point, we've not managed to get her on one of the tribute events.
She was on Johnsy's event
recently. Yeah. As far as the Pass the Torch for Ty, she's not ever, like, logistically, we just couldn't make it happen. What was
the relationship there?
Eska and Ty, they were just, like, in a way, kindred spirits, creatively, you know? She went on tour with him and done some phenomenal things. Like, I think, I can't even pronounce the word, but a jazz festival in France. Like, there's video footage.
The Montreal one?
Montreal, yeah. So she's done some phenomenal things, and she's going to be putting together a special set, which I can't wait to see, which kind of highlights all the songs that she's featured on throughout time.
Very personalized.
Yes. So one thing I'll push about this event and all the Pass the Torch for Ty events, you see some unique things that you don't see anywhere else other than these shows. And on top of that special performance from Eska, you're going to see these films that are being premiered. You're going to hear stories that have not been told before. You know, it's a very special night. So anybody that wants to come and feel the love in the room and see something very special, come to Pass the Torch for Ty.
You mentioned earlier that Shorty Blitz also puts on an event. So what's the main difference between yours and his?
So that's Just Vibes, that's Trini Gladiator, who Shorty Blitz works with. Their event is more DJ focused. So the DJs go on and they play and it's a good vibe. And it's a lot of love in the room. So big them up, it's called Celebrate Ty. Our event is more a live music showcase. So it's more artist-led. So, and that's more in keeping with what Pass the Torch was initially. That was Ty's vision.
And it still is.
And it still is to the day. That's what we're representing.
Sometimes people can come in and they can change the narrative, but you haven't done that.
Right.
So, you know, I like the fact that you've kept it moving the same way it was started.
Yeah.
You know, so big up for that as well.
Appreciate it.
You know? We're running out of time. Is there any final words that you want to say? Anything that we missed out on that you feel needs to be said?
Again, like I said, this event for us, there was no blueprint to how to run this event, how to celebrate an artist's legacy in this country. So we're kind of, in a way, like we're kind of leading the way, but the objective has always been the same. We want to celebrate Ty, his legacy. Open it up to people that may not have heard him before. The mission is still a love letter to UK hip hop. We celebrating the culture, the art form that I grew up on, with the same energy and excitement that I've always had. And yeah, long may it continue, but then at the same time, openly looking to the next generation to see, okay, how are you going to play this forward? And that's the long-term play. I can't run these forever.
Just out of curiosity, is that something that you pretty much try to teach everyone to do as well while you're there doing what you're doing, so that they always pass it forward?
Yeah. I mean, for me, like personally, I work as a university lecturer on a rap degree. So I work with about 40 to 50 hip-hop artists, so my whole job has always been about mentoring, and teaching and educating rappers in the right way. I run a monthly event at the Chip Shop where I showcase some of these rappers, and the key is always trying to educate them and put them in position, because I know when I'm out of this, they're next. And we need to make sure that the guys that come next lead in the right way.
Have to.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. We've had our time, pass it on to someone else, and we can use our knowledge. It's like being a footballer and then being the coach.
Yeah.
And then being the manager. And then, do you know what I mean? You've had your time on the pitch. Now do something else.
That's what's up.
So, yeah.
We can't sit back and just complain about these youngers on Twitter and all of that. Sometimes we've got to be on the field and just show them the way.
But I also think it's important to align yourself with the people that want to be aligned with you, rather than wasting your energy on people that are just going to badmouth you and badmouth the event, badmouth whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there are people that are always going to be like that.
Yeah, and regardless what anybody has to say, there's no gatekeeping over here. This is an open invitation for anybody that wants to be involved.
Are you talking about this particular event?
Just in general, and this event, yeah. I'm open. Like this year, I'm partnering up with Fusion and BMT, partner up with I Am Hip Hop Magazine. Like, I'm open to work with people, that if you feel that you can contribute and you see the vision and you see what we're trying to do and you could bring some value to it, like, come on board.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Well, bro, thank you very much for coming on and talking about this. And I hope that the event goes really well. Do you want to just remind people of the date it's on?
Yeah. So pass the torch for Ty, Sunday the 17th of August, which is actually Ty's birthday, at Brixton Blues Kitchen in Brixton. Every year we raise money for the Brixton Soup Kitchen. Literally, the tickets are available on Eventbrite. Just type in Pass the Torch for Ty. I'm sure Blade will put the link in the description as well. We look forward to seeing you, man. Expect vibes, expect quality live performances, and again, a celebration of Ty, his legacy, and a love letter to UK hip hop.
Thanks again for coming on, bro. And for everybody out there, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, click the bell to receive notifications, like, share, and get involved in the comment section below. And let's keep this thing moving, so that it can happen every year. But also, like we said in the conversation, let's also talk about some of the people that are still alive and deserve to be talked about, because without them, maybe some of the artists that are here wouldn't even exist. They inspired, same way Ty inspired. So, yeah, pass the torch, 17th of August, and hopefully see some of you there. I'm going to try and make it if I'm not busy. Bro, thank you very much for doing what you're doing.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you so much, Blade, bro. Again, if you want to keep up with me, at Connoisseurs of Hip Hop, at Skandouz on all digital platforms.
I'll put all the information in the description below.